Alrighty. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I am your meteorologist for the evening, Cloud Hudson, and I'll be bringing you tonight's top weather stories, top 5 stories from all spheres that are included in my definition of weather. I think my upstairs neighbor roommates / parents are trying to go to sleep around now, so I'm going to keep it to a little bit more of an ASMR type broadcast tonight. Didn't get on air early enough to, beat bedtime. So this is today's weather tonight. So it is always at the nighttime, but sometimes my definition of nighttime is different. Okay, so let's go ahead and, all right, I've got to add my camera. I'd like to go ahead and look at our volcano updates for today. And since we do have such a strong weather outbreak here in the eastern portion of the United States, I am going to leave Radar Omega up in the corner just so that we can see any new alerts that come on. Might zoom in a little bit towards the areas that we're concerned with, which would be all the way from Little Rock to Cincinnati. And I am also going to go ahead and alert Twitch that we are live. All right. Now I did use Blurp today, which is a Twitch extension. I gotta figure out how to get it on my page though. I've been thinking maybe I need to do it online on live first. Okay. Perhaps if I reload the channel now, it'll show Blurp. Oh, hello, everybody, beautiful viewers. I'm so happy to hear all of you are here. I'm going to go ahead and... Ooh, Blurp is functioning. Let's see if I can get it to play something. I don't know if I know how to get it to play something. Oh, well. You know what? I'm going to go to Twitch school. I'm going to go to Twitch school soon. I also have some fun emotes. So I'm going to use my fun emotes now. Because I've joined some communities. I've joined Brainstorm Warning and GH Coffee. I'm very happy to see them. I'm going to do all of my special little things. Let's do thought I could do some Dutch sense ones, but maybe I can't. Okay, let's go ahead and look at our currently active volcanoes now. Now that I've done my little experimentation over on Twitch, I get the weirdest fucking ads. I tell ya, this does not reflect my purchase history at all. Last thing I bought on Etsy was a sickle. Yes, I got a hand sickle for harvesting herbs, so I'm very excited for that to arrive. It was from a blacksmith in Ukraine who was having an extreme clearance sale. Hopefully not because he's under fire, but you know, it is possible in that war-torn area of Europe. Europe is a very war-torn and savage place. Unlike other continent places in the world. Okay, so we've got Mount Ibu in Indonesia and Semeru and Merapi in Indonesia, all giving ground reports of an eruption with volcanic ash to flight level 130 at Merapi, an eruption in Semeru, and volcanic ash reported near Mount Ibu. And here are our images of that. You can see that hazier color here in the picture would be the mountain exploding ash itself, and the cumulus clouds forming around it are the clouds formed from the cloud condensation nuclei of the volcanic ash. Same thing goes with Merapi, showing a lot of onshore winds. And Tucono is pretty hard to identify, at least to my naked eye. That is, Tucono Halmahera had an eruption observed on satellite. So I guess this is the eruption observed. Popo had no observed emissions today. Santiaguito only had sporadic volcanic ash emissions. Fuego down in Guatemala had frequent ash emissions, so climbing back up there into its active state. Nevado del Ruiz had volcanic... I don't remember what VONA means, but Sangay down in Ecuador had possible volcanic ash emissions prevented or volcanic ash emissions confirmed and sporadic down from Peru. So kind of a quiet news day from, we have steam emissions from Villarrica in central Chile. Ground report of an explosion in the Lesser Sunda Islands, Lewotolo. That would be this right here. And Halmahera, Mount Ibu, still giving off some volcanic ash emissions. I don't know why Facebook is up in there. I don't even use Facebook that much. Okay. Oh, let's make sure I have chat open here. Yes, and if you can't see, these are the little emotes that I have over on Twitch. So if you guys are on Twitch, you can follow me. I don't play video games because I believe video games are immoral and an abomination against God. But I do support gamers' rights, and, you know, they should be treated as equals, even though, you know, some people question whether they're really people or not. I believe in gamers' rights. Now, let's see. Just had to tell my friends over on Brainstorm Morning that I'm going live. Okay. So that is it for our volcanic updates. Let's go down to check on our earthquakes. And as you can see, that's a lot. Yeah, just in the past day, that is a lot of quakes. We'll start in the least active zone of the world, which is Africa and Europe. They've got 4.1 in the Strait of Gibraltar, near the Strait of Gibraltar here today, just south of Spain there. We had a 4.2 on the main peninsula of Greece, as well as a 4.5 more recently closer to the Ionian border area with Turkey. There's all my other quakes from today. I was going to say I saw some 4.5s, I saw some 2.9s, saw some 3s from this Greece swarm. So also getting a lot of activity in Campi Flegrei, the Phlegraean fields over in Italy still. And thought I saw one down here, but it's not picking up again. I want to know what our mid-Atlantic ridge situation is. Let's continue. Let's continue as the direction that the sun sees the Earth moving. We've got a bit of an uptick in 4s and a 5.3 down here in... That looks to be... Okay, the 5.3 is in Chile. 4.4 is over here in Argentina. And that... Oh, none of them are in Bolivia. This is all Chile, Peru, and Argentina. Then up here in... Is this Colombia? I believe. Had a 4.3. Over here in El Salvador, looks like we had a 4.6 and a 4.8, a 4.3 up towards Nicaragua. Or actually, is that in Costa Rica? I don't recall which country this is. Hold on. Yeah, it is Nicaragua. Okay, I was right. Yeah, had a 4.3 in Nicaragua today. We also had a nice little swarm for our Puerto Rican Trench area. I have to turn shells off for y'all to be even able to see this. Sometimes I want to show shells, but I'm not going to show shells tonight. 2.0 here on the Missouri-Arkansas border, and that corresponds to last night, early this morning, around midnight, actually, during the broadcast, no, just before our broadcast last night was a 2.0, and that is when we did have some strong storms sweeping through the region. 1.9 right there in the middle of Oklahoma. That's like between Oklahoma City and Tulsa. And our San Antonio center of activity has ticked back up with a few 2s and 1s there. Of course, our Western Texas stack is active as ever, just a normal hum of daily operations there. 1.9 up in Montana. 3.4 was down here on the Baja Peninsula. And I'm going to have to take these sizes down. Yeah, I'm going to turn the ring just so we can see this for a second, because we can't ever see any damn thing when we have our rings on down here in Southern California, because there's just so many trimmer levels. Turn rings back on. Some nominal, near nominal quakes, 1s up in Washington, 3.3, 2.6, 3.2, 4.2 off the coast of British Columbia and Vancouver Island. Have a 4.2 sticking out way up here at the top of the world, as well as some of this Canadian energy seems to have spilled over into this Alaskan energy has spilled into Canada. Speaking of Alaskan energy, it is active as ever, with lots of 1s and 2s, and a nice little stack of 4.8 4.1, 4.6, 3.7, and 3.6 right here in the Aleutian Island chain. Well, I guess, where is this near? Southeast of Perryville, Alaska. So it's right off the coast of the Alaskan Peninsula, just south of all of those wildlife refuges and national parks, kind of southwest of Kodiak. Yeah, that's the best I could say there. Kind of in the divot. It's actually looking, I'll show you on here. Oh, that's the wrong one. I have to open that in a new tab. Anyway, I'm not going to show you, but it is kind of, there's a divot here between, this is the Shelikof Strait, and there's a kind of bowling down towards the subduction zone where the Pacific plate is subducting under the Arctic plate. That's kind of in the local minimum. So those are pretty, they're 10 kilometers below the surface, but that surface is lower than everywhere else. So it might be an attenuation of energy moving in the Pacific plate. And a 3.9 out there closer to the Fox Islands where we had that big 6 the other day. Now 4.0, 5.1, 4.0, as we move down the Kamchatka Peninsula, 4.3 over here near the Marianas Trench region, 4.7 and 4.4 in the Philippines. And our mid-range 4s are pretty evenly spaced throughout. I'm going to turn this back on. You can see where the shells overlap. Pretty evenly spaced. Spreading out from, we've had some large activity over here in Fiji Islands and Tonga Islands. Let's see, the 6.6 was, that was the one in Vanuatu, between 2 of its major islands. Yeah, this 6.6 was a shallow 0 kilometer depth quake. So we might be looking for some wave activity in this area. I don't know what, it doesn't have tsunami warning on there, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw heightened tsunami risk in the area. And that, you can see the ring is flat to the ground. That is a really shallow 6.6. But also, we've got this very large 6.6 that was, well, that is also the surface one. I think the 6.1 is going to be the deep. Yeah. Oh, 7.1. This is a 7.1 at 270 kilometers depth. I'm going to turn rings back off, or shells back off for a second, so we can see the overlap. These are kind of stacked right on top of each other. As you can see, the 7.1 and then those really shallow surface 6s. I believe this 7.1 was at 4:47 p.m. and the 6.6 was at 4:47 p.m. 6.6 was at 4:47 p.m. So pretty much simultaneous there. And yeah, that 7.1, those were all concurrent, all at the same time. So that is really clearly energy coming up out of the ground. And it looks like it is taking its path via the Vanuatu Islands into Philippines. So this is when we look for Dutch census arrows to make sense of the momentum from the deep earthquakes out, I believe, in both directions soon. And as we move into Sichuan, China, had a 5.1 earlier this evening at 11:07 p.m. 4.4 was out here in the Himalayas, and we continue to have Western China, Kyrgyzstan, and Russia, Tajikistan border region quakes spreading westward, I would say. No, they're spreading 252, 154, 619. Okay, so the 4.3 was first, and then the 4.2, then the 4.1 there. So that looks like energy going out, hitting, slapping back. We also had another 4.1 down here in southern Iran. That was at 10 kilometers depth. And that brings us back to where we started. But I do just want to point out our top of the world quakes and bottom of the world quakes. This 5.1 that is in the Pacific yesterday at 2:17 a.m. We might expect to see something on the antipode from this quake. We also could expect to see, I want to know, where was the moon and sun at the time that those struck? Let's get a time on this 7. Monday, May 27th, 8:47 a.m. So 8:47 a.m. their local time. So that would be around dawn. Let's see if we got a shaking map yet. In New Zealand, let's see. Do they get New Caledonia reports? Not really. Okay. Unnoticeable shaking in we have 2 new ones here right on the so that was this morning. I'm going to make our slider even more recent so that these show up as, yeah. How do I see? I want to see the 2 surface ones, not the older guy. Oh, those are. Yeah, 217. Okay. Wonder where that new one was. Oh, new one, 4.5 at the top of the world. I was just saying, let's look at those top of the world quakes. I believe that's the new one, 4.5 at 18 kilometers depth. Okay. No, it's not. That's from 521. Why are you showing me that? Interesting. Oh, well. Yeah, and continued quaking up here in Newfoundland, Eastern Canada area, Canadian Atlantic into Greenland. Very interesting to see quakes all the way up there. So we should probably expect this 7 and 2 surface 6s to ripple outwards. Let's take a look at their shells on. Man, this is just 4.0s and above. This is still a very active globe for only 4.0s and above. And when you see it like this, without those little tremors in the middle, distant. I haven't done the statistical analysis yet on what the frequency of quakes is, though. Now, from here, let's go back to look at our atmosphere. Oh, we also make sure that stream is still good. We're still here. Hi, everybody. Welcome. If you want to introduce yourself in the chat, please feel free to do so. But if you are just lurking, that is okay too. We do not have to I'm doing a ASMR type delivery tonight because, unfortunately, the gravity of the situation meteorologically is such that one that calls for great reverence at the moment. There have been reports from yesterday's tornadoes that tore through Arkansas and Texas that there have been 18 known fatalities from yesterday's storm, and that is the storm that is plowing through here. This being the first wave of it, and this being the second wave of it, like almost like two spiral bands on a hurricane. Thankfully, the storm is bowing out now, and when it gets into this more quasi-linear convective system arrangement, all we're looking for when it comes to tornadoes is kinks in the line, or places where the line ends. Perfect example is here near Paragould and Blytheville, Arkansas. But this area right here is where we have seen the majority of our severe weather today. This area of southern Illinois is actually called Little Egypt. And I think that's really interesting because they've got like Cairo and all kinds of mounds and Thebes and places named after lots of Egyptian stuff because of the confluence of the rivers being reminiscent of the Nile Delta. Very fertile, rich area, but also a place with very little protection from the storms, protection in the way of mountains. They have some nice hills there, but not really mountains. So we see this bowing line segment. This is actually a good thing to see at this point because once you see this look like one nice crashing ocean wave, imagine looking at some whitecap waves from above. You can see how this would be like that initial curl of foam. You can see it curling under, and this being the churning up behind it. Once we see those easy to recognize patterns, there's less it's almost like less surface area, less chaos area for the tornadoes to become their own little micro spin-off. It's really a fractal of the whole storm type of deal. But when we get down to, say, what's happening here in northeastern Arkansas right now, we have the one-offs, these isolated supercells that form along the trailing edge of the frontal boundary as it sweeps up into higher latitudes. Then we look for these isolated supercells to form again. And so a name we've said a lot this season, Arkadelphia, Arkansas, Mount Pleasant, Texas, Texarkana, Forest City, Arkansas. All of y'all are looking at some isolated strong thunderstorms doing what I like to refer to as the rotating puffed Cheeto. That spinning helix shape rotating. If you can see like the orange and red reflectivity values looking like if you took one of those puffed Cheeto twists and rotated it. You could also think of it as a spring rotating, but that's boring. I like to think of them as little puffed Cheetos up in the sky. So we've got that going on, which isn't awesome because that can sometimes tilt downwards, and that will contribute to the formation of a mesocyclone, a little tiny mesoscale cyclonic center of rotation, and that is what becomes a tornado. Now, this tornado is only radar indicated, but looking at up to an inch sized hail, and it is also nighttime, and tornadoes are extremely hard to see at nighttime, as are most things. Very hard to see at night. So they become more dangerous in the nighttime. And I'm, when a supercell gets absorbed into a quasi-linear convective system, it's good because it kind of puts an end to the supercell's tenure as an isolated area of chaos, a chaos agent career. But I don't like the look of two storm segments that are just, they look parallel right now, and it'd be fine if they were parallel as they converged. But if we get even the slightest angle between the orientation of the two linear systems as they converge here, if they converge, I don't like what that does for potential rotation chances. And this is where you can see kind of almost the upper air of the storm has got to be connected. Let's take a look at single site radar near here. Looking at the Memphis radar would be beneficial. Okay, and I can see that rotation signature just east of Paragold coming in there. Yeah, this is looking like that king in the line or two-line convergence zone type thing. Does look to be moving more southeast than due east. But let's look at it in reflectivity at different levels. Yeah, we see that come in and get some kinks in the line as this down near Osceola, this inflow. This is kind of pushing inflow in its own way, creating a new interface, a new surface there. Now, it is also interesting to note that we've got some strong storms down here near Arkadelphia headed towards Pine Bluff in Arkansas. Let's see if the Little Rock radar has any better look at. No, I think Memphis radar is going to be, yeah, and Memphis, you are warned for 150, 1.5 inch hail. That's ping pong ball sized hail, and winds up to 60 miles per hour. So that is really unfortunate there. But we are still looking at, I think our only active tornado warnings are the ones here on the, oh no, it's not our only ones. Arkansas, Missouri border areas. Yeah, okay, so I guess, oh, this is actually technically in that little stick out. This is in the little stick out in Missouri. This is right in the New Madrid seismic zone of Missouri. So we are looking at, looks like it's, the center of rotation looks more like going back into Tennessee than stretching closer to New Madrid. But we are in the New Madrid seismic zone, so interesting weather and geology, seismology overlap of this area is this is the New Madrid seismic zone, named for the town of New Madrid that up here at the bend in the Mississippi that had really, really terrible earthquakes in the 1800s. That's how we found out about that. Oh, you can kind of see a slight new outflow boundary starting. And I don't like the look of that creeping up on this storm that's up here at Osceola, because if they interact in a T formation, then we get right angles, and right angles don't last very long in nature. So that means we're going to quickly go into something very angular, and thus with probably a good chance of vorticity. So I do hope that those, you can almost see two different helix strands in this QLCS trying to switch over here, like rotating. You see that? But I don't want to neglect where we've got some really terrible Or, oh, we have new 131 miles per hour, 20 miles per hour. This is moving at 31 miles per hour. Yeah, I don't really see the rotation in question. Looking up at the higher levels of the atmosphere, the higher tilt of the radar, you can kind of see how these are all interacting at a higher level in the atmosphere. Let's go back down to tilt 1 though, because we are in kind of the flatlands. I use the tilts a lot where I am because I'm in the mountainous areas. But yeah, right in this New Madrid, Little Egypt, extreme western Kentucky, and Kentucky and Tennessee region we're looking at. Okay, and this is what they're looking at as the potential tornado. 100% probability of hail, up to an inch. Yeah, looking bad there. Probably rain wrapped if that's where the tornado is. Let's see this on reflectivity again. Headed for Caruthersville. Some of this interaction region is not very happy. Okay. So let's go now to, let's zoom out and take one last look at everything. Yeah, so we got this big Boeing line segment. Oh, Missouri getting in on the action now too, in south of Paris and near Plattsburgh. Interesting. Yeah, we have a lot of special weather statements along the northeastern limb of this. Winds up to 50 miles per hour and hail expected. I'll leave you guys with a visual, an overall visual. Oh, I forgot to even mention that we did have some severe storms spread through North Carolina and Virginia already today, as well as up through Pennsylvania, and Green Bay getting in on the action as well. So there's severe weather everywhere today, but very interesting storm that made it over the mountains. Wonder if I can do a longer, maybe like 100 frames will get it back far enough. I gotta load this, so we'll see. We'll see. Oh, I forgot to turn on my UV light. It does almost nothing, but you can kind of see that my hair is UV reactive if I have it right up against my head. So that's a cool feature. That's a cool feature of the skin that I picked out for my character. Okay, looks like we've got the 100 frames loaded. So we can see this move through more of the state. That doesn't go back far enough. That goes back a few hours. And 250 frames wouldn't do it either. So I'm going to show you this on our weather websites. I'm going to take you to the GOES satellite now. But I'm going to leave the radar up in the corner, of course. Okay, so this shows, let's do from earlier in the day so we can see this. Starts there, so let's see what'll get us to. That'll get us to yesterday. Okay. Oh, if it loads. So this is what happened yesterday. This is the wave coming behind it, and you'll see that this takes that southeastern inflow with that southwestern inflow, different tropical air masses, and mixes them well with the air masses troughing down from Canada and Alaska. Maybe I can't do a loop that large. Okay. It's not giving me my play pause button. Maybe it just hasn't loaded yet. Okay, fine. Oh, there we go. Okay. So here you can see this chunk of storm did make it over the Appalachian Mountains, which is uncommon to stay intact as such a strong storm, but not unheard of, especially at this time of year, severe weather season. But that just shows you how strong the zonal winds were right across the Tennessee and North Carolina latitudes. We've got a lot of kind of very due east component to most of the levels of winds there. Now it is good to see veering warm air advection, like going like this with high. Actually, it's like this. It's backwards because my computer is mirrored, but you can see when the low level is like that and the upper level is like that. When it goes, you can see that on hodograph imagery too. You can see a lot of rotation and vorticity on the center of circulation side here. And it really is striking to see the beginning of this storm starts off almost rectangular. You can see a really clear 90-degree angle in there. There's a really clear square just over Kansas, Nebraska, like centered over Kansas City. Very interesting. And then you see what the impact of that is. You don't see the square for very long because it's an intermediate phase of rotation, and you see it really rotate there. I mean, it persists for quite a long time, but usually they go away pretty rapidly, and in its wake you see all these storms pop up. So these are storms that were just showing as cirrus disturbance earlier. Then we get the wedge shape here, and roll forward and see in the leeward side of this, we see all of our extreme weather. This is just what ended up in the Carolinas today. This is what's causing all of our severe damaging storms threats today. So that is the area that still has good flow from that cold northeast or northwest, and also still has good surface level inflow from the very tropical air masses converging here over southern Texas and northern Mexico. And you can see another center of circulation coming in right behind this. So we are probably due to finish out this year in a very strong year. This severe weather season doesn't look like it wants to wind down anytime soon, even though this is usually when we switch into hurricane season. And hurricane season does promise to be a doozy this year. So, what else did I want to see? Take a look at tornadoes over the past 48 hours, see if Michigan has any good. Okay, here's a nice illustration of all the very mean, bad tornadoes here in Texas yesterday, and these ones in Illinois and Kentucky and Indiana have been today. The other ones were yesterday, but Arkansas and Missouri have gotten in on the action both days today. So let's see. Got one near Goreville. I saw trailers. There's trailers flipped. Tornado crossed I-57. The most recent one was today in Kentucky in Dawson Springs. That is where there was lots of at least 20 homes in the Charleston community north of Dawson Springs are down. I think this was all the same tornado. Yeah, 3 injured at least. Trees down across multiple roads, making travel impossible. 3 minor injuries about 4 to 5 miles north of Princeton. And that's not even the center of where this tornado was. This is a very heavily wooded area. So, unfortunately, oh wait, did I switch over to? Yeah, I did. Unfortunately, there are probably going to be a lot more storm reports of injuries and damage coming out of that area soon. Let's go to SPC storm reports. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is very clear. So, wind and high wind reports are rampant. This northern area of the closer you get to that, like, north center of circulation, these really lots of damage, lots of trees and houses damaged. I personally, on Ryan Hall y'all's stream today, saw like 3 different tornadoes from their chasers. So, yeah, that is not good. Lots of hail. Let's see, 200, 275. That would be, yeah, lots of hail reports. 400, 3 to 4 inch hail just north of Marshfield, Missouri. So really massive hail. And I remember from the streams I watched today, there were some places where hail came down and blanketed the area like snow. So that's really unfortunate. And yesterday, I don't think I remembered to touch on this on my extremely brief update yesterday, but there were 29 tornadoes yesterday across Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas. You see this again, almost right angle of storms, just absolutely clobbering the region. Really unfortunate there. Yeah, there have been, yeah, unfortunately, these have been fatal tornadoes that fell across this region. And I mean, this just goes to show you stuff. This just goes to show you stuff. This just goes to show you how widespread a storm system can be, and have such different compositions on different days. Like you see the different types of storm reports here compared to today's here. You really see that segment swinging up north. really, really quick. Everybody hydrate. Do a little stretch. Hydrate. It's good for you. Oh, you hear my chest popping? There we go. Okay, taking a look now at null Earth. We can see that Aleutian Low just hanging out in the little armpit of Alaska up there. Trade winds going pretty steadily, nothing mixing up too greatly in the Pacific at this time, though we do have a lot of little isolated storm systems here. And yeah, unfortunately, that typhoon, cyclone, whatever has made landfall here. Let's see if I can get this on. Google Earth. Oh, I can in a little. Can I do it in a... Oh, no, I have to go to a different tab. Because I want to say the name of this place right, because I've been watching this onshore momentum for a few days. I don't remember what it's called here. Oh, take out Earth. It knows we're on Google Earth. I don't have to say Earth. This is Bangladesh. Okay, yes. I knew this was Calcutta or Calcutta, West Bengal, the Bangladeshi coast, this whole river delta region. Which river is this? That's the Padma River. And that is a range, mountain range off of it. Yeah, that Padma River Delta region, Bangladesh, and West Bengal. Y'all are in for a nasty situation here. Oh, that's how I change units. Like toggle it here. Okay. Look at this nasty circulation here, making landfall in what did I call it? Bangladesh. Yeah, making landfall in Bangladesh. This is probably your monsoon season type thing, so hopefully people know what to do with this kind of rain up there. But yeah, that is our 3-hour precipitation accumulation analysis, and that is showing, yeah, up to 3 inches in 3 hours. That's some really heavy rain. We've also got this little circulation off the coast of the Philippines that's got 3.5, 4, and yeah, 3.5 inch to 4. Yeah, 4 near 4-inch rain, inches per 3 hours, rainfall rates. So pretty heavy rainfall there. As we move around the world, thankfully, looks like some of our areas that have been flooded are off the hook. But I remember a news story about the border of Georgia experiencing a flood right now. So that is also really unfortunate. Here's all the remnants of that US-made storm system. Our May storm systems just go off and contaminate the Atlantic Ocean. And here's the storm system that we're looking at here. Not even that big of rainfall rates, but if we look at our wind, wind's not looking too high until we get up to our higher levels. And then as we get into our jet levels, you can see that we've got this convergence of our subtropical jet and our subpolar jet. That's what causes our good, juicy, extreme weather in the springtime in this area of the world. And yeah, you can see even up at the upper levels, you've got upper level convergence right behind this, slight divergence along the frontal boundary as it's going right here. So this is probably pushing along those tops. But as you can see where I noted the laminar wind flows, that storm that really made it over the mountains all the way up, you've got a same component direction of airflow. But as you get to the surface, actually, that's when you see this cyclonic circulation really pop out. Let's take a look at this. Really high wind speeds here. Looking at, I wonder if this is named, up to 40 meters per second or 91 miles per hour. Up to 90 mile per hour winds. So this is like a tropical depression strength. But the wind speeds here around 50 miles per hour. That is still a decent storm to be making landfall. So yeah, in the areas where you've either got, this area's got all the weather, all of it. But yeah, that's our look at our atmosphere. Let's take a look now at our Schumann resonances. Oh, hello, Casey. I just noticed that you got into the chat. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, be safe in the rain out there, because man, oh man, there are some really heavy rainfall rates. I'm only in North Carolina, and just the one little line of storms that swept through was really, we got a couple inches off of that. So especially if you're anywhere in the Midwest, I can't imagine what rainfall rates are like there. Let's see. Here's a look at our Schumann resonances for today. I think we've talked about this before, but everything below this like 8 tick mark here, that's where your delta and theta brainwave wavelengths are. And then around 8, or the neutral heartbeat resonance of the Earth, mode 1, should always be around 7.83 hertz. That's where our alpha brainwave is. So this is the alpha brainwave vibe. And looks like we did just about an hour ago get a big old burst, our daily Schumann resonance burst started. And I think I know what that is concurrent with, because I have got a new thing for us to look at. Hold on. I'm gonna leave it on this while I look it up in a different tab. Oh, you're in Elizabethtown, Kentucky? Yeah, be very careful there. That's right smack dab in the middle of it. You might have barely evaded tornadoes tonight, but I'm gonna pull the radar on your area so you can see it. I'll make it a little bit bigger in the corner here. Throw Schumann up there. Make our radar a bit bigger down here. But yeah, that's what we're dealing with right now. And I'm going to pull up something that I think I noticed was part of this most recent Schumann download. Was I've got some imagery from the magnetosphere today. And I believe it was just about an hour or two ago that we did get a good big burst of, yeah, that's what I want. Okay. I'm going to actually bookmark this too so that I can remember to come back to it. Oh yeah, this was on my homepage. I don't know. 670 dead in, where was it? Philippines? I'm getting distracted. I should have opened it when I saw it. Okay. Make this a little... Wanted to show this magnetosphere because this is a look at the velocity of the solar wind coming at us. This one on the left-hand side, that's the equatorial plane. So that's like if you were hovering above the North Pole and looking down. And like there's facing the sun and there's behind the sun. And then this is the noon midnight meridional plane that's looking like side to side, like vertical, like if you were standing on the equatorial plane and looking at the North Pole and South Pole. Like this being the North Pole, you can kind of see this little tornado shape. These little funnels are where the energy is going in and out of the poles and recycling in the magnetosphere. That's where our magnetic charge is cycling. It's a map of what the solar wind does to it. And as you can see, there was that burst that comes through right in the last part of this. And this is our magnetotail. And you can see it really pulsing down. And this is our density from both of those perspectives as well. So this is ways to view the density of plasma radiation coming at us, the density of it, those charged particles streaming towards the Earth. And you can see its little tail in the background. And sometimes that tail creates little eddies. It will shed vortices. And those will sometimes zoom around back into the Earth. This kind of shows it best as we are looking at the pressure, which is in nanopascals. So this is at the part of the atmosphere where we're at 0 hectopascals and we're looking in nanopascals. We get into the day, we get this big increase in pressure, right? Okay, we went, there was earlier, I'm gonna do this so I can toggle through it. At around, this is around 2000, what time? Like 2Z, I believe, so 10 o'clock around 10 o'clock, we got this first pass of pressure, this first pass of some sort of storm interrupting. That's at around 10 o'clock, and it rushed around and kind of, do you see on the edge here, there's this little bloop that wants to disconnect. This is shedding power from that magnetosphere. Then recently, we start to get really charged up again around 3, 4 Z. So that was at, what did I say? 2Z was 10, 3Z was 11-ish. We started to charge up our radiation belts again, and then our radiation belts have continued to be charged by a solar wind since then. We're really charging up those belts around the Earth, and now that doesn't always cause a precipitation event, but it's really interesting to see this overloading of the night side, this overcharging of the night side, where that at the start of this little storm, that was only as nominal as the front. Usually the front of this disk, the front of our magnetosphere, protects us, but sometimes little bits of the energy stream around and become trapped in the tail of the magnetosphere, the magnetotail. So behind the Earth, we're getting those like really heavy inputs. Now, I would think that means some interesting solar weather. So let's go ahead, and also this all lines up with arts, as you see here. This corresponds to the most recent influx, and this first little blip is probably that wave that came around 10 o'clock, and this is our wave that started more around the end of 11 into midnight and 1 a.m. Eastern time, at least for me. Let's see. Make sure I'm still streaming. Yes, okay. Oh, your power is out? Oh no. Well, make sure that you have a power bank, or don't, I will tell you what you need to know and have a radar up for you on this live feed. But please make sure that you have backup power or backup battery for your phone, because that might be really important coming up. Even though the big front line of storms has moved through the Elizabethtown area, or I don't know if it's Elizabethton or town, but that first line has rolled through the area, but that backside still has a lot of very strong wind, which is a power outage risk, and the potential for heavy rainfall, which is not a fun thing. It's not a fun thing to have too much rainfall when there are downed power lines. Okay, but I'm going to continue. We'll go back to the storm reporting, the terrestrial atmospheric storm reporting in a little bit. I do just want to note that recently we have been getting this influx of Schumann resonance power, and that was concurrent with this elevation in the pressure in our magnetosphere. Increase in pressure in magnetosphere, I think, sometimes goes with it could go with an ion precipitation event. So speaking of looks like we are maybe in a few days of relative calm, or even the 24th, that were pretty cool looking. That might be what we're experiencing now. But days when there's just steady coronal mass ejections with a partial halo component, that's when I'm looking for these solar wind and ion, the radiation belt charging events. But looks like our X-class, our X-ray flares, our X-ray flux has calmed down to having a baseline noise level near lower C territory. So we've only even had M flares back on the 24th. So we haven't even made it into M flare territory or R1 radio blackout. That's a good question. I always think this about returning sunspots. And you know why I think that about a returning sunspot right now? We have region 3663, our nice, beautiful, symmetrical named one from its previous journey across the disk. We now have seen this sunspot region return as region 3691. Now we see this sash. It's like the Earth is wearing a little queen bee or pageant winner kind of sash of sunspot regions. I don't know why I couldn't think of the word sunspot region for a second. Our most active ones from this latest version of this Earth-facing disk have calmed down a lot, but the new one that we're getting, this 3691, is a repeat of region 3663. So that is and it is still classified as a beta gamma delta type formation. So I'm optimistic that this one is going to give us some decent solar weather activity throughout its next 10 year on the Earth facing disk. Now, speaking of space weather, we're looking at our hemispheric power has gone up. So that would be in the last 2 hours, our hemispheric power went up. And I believe that that coincides with the charging of those radiation bands. And we can see in the past few days when we've had Schumann resonance. In fact, let me compare our hemispheric power to our Schumann resonance. As we go from 27th, 26th, 25th, it's 27th, 26th, 25th, we are seeing the near daily, our I would definitely expect hemispheric power to be up right now based on what we're seeing in the charging of the belts. And we do have a good southern component to the interplanetary magnetic field region right now, which means that we do have a good, a better than none chance of aurora, but probably only for those in the extreme high latitudes where it's very dark. But we also just had a full moon, so not very good space weather watching conditions. So not too much solar activity to speak of right now. Solar protons looking neutral. We could take a look at our imagery. Let's take a look at 193. All right. Positive things about having solar weather increased, I think, is opportunity to meditate deeper, sleep deeper, and recharge better. It's a really good reminder. It's kind of that us the basics of our bodily health, and it's a really good time to, I think, diagnose or listen to your body for what the problems are. And it's unfortunate if you're quite well aware of what your problems in your entire life are that manifest through the body. But if you have uh, questionable pains or injuries during this time, could be bringing up an area of your energetic field that is not flowing very well. I do subscribe to the theory that the your energetic field looks like the corona of the sun, and there are sunspots in your energetic body, and they have their own little storms and flare-ups. And so this is a really good time to examine the energetic body and make sure that you don't manifest as injuries on the physical level if left unchecked. A really pretty sun going forward, though. We have some dimming regions up here and up here. That was our last big coronal mass ejection, and I said I felt like that one had an Earth-directed component. That might be what's getting to us now, because remember I said it looked like a whip? It looks like a whip going backwards and kind of headed towards Earth on that diagonal plane right here. This. Yeah, that looks like a whip. So I think it did spark a little towards us. We've also got some heart shapes, some looking like lines of converting from laminar flow to turbulent flow areas that could take their trip to the other side of the sun. But with so many planets Kazemi, the sun right now, we've got Venus passing in front of the sun and Jupiter passing behind the sun, or roughly aligned with the sun right now. We're looking at a lot of opportunities for gravitational fields from planets to play a part in a distant way on the storms on the sun's surface. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. So the way that the solar weather, in tracking the sunspots is going to manifest here is by way of this right here, the magnetosphere around the Earth, which buffets all the radiation and plasma and solar wind that gets blown towards Earth from the sun. But sometimes, as you'll see in this area, the bands closer to the Earth that aren't really on the outside of protecting the Earth will become charged up too, and at that point they are available stores of energy to transfer down through the poles, and you see that in the velocity and rings here, and you can see a lot of velocity, really, really interesting close Earth rings, moire patterns almost of different types of interference patterns we have, because we're measuring the wind speed in charged particles at this point in the atmosphere, because there's so few real chemicals to measure the movement of. You can see that the inner band here that goes around in the magnetotail of the Earth's magnetosphere sometimes elevates in wind speed towards the Earth. So you see this blue in the up in the 600 kilometers per second region. That's in the positive values, meaning instead of going away from the sun, it is going towards the Earth. When we get towards the Earth, wind directions, and speeds with higher densities and a higher pressure. This is in nanopascals. This is pressure. That's when the connection can be made down to the Earth-connected winds. Basically, as you get closer to the Earth, this becomes the ionosphere and eventually gradiates into being the atmosphere. So via the very, very high upper level wind connections that usually go along with cloud to ground lightning, extreme tall lightning events, the Schumann resonances here are a measure of all global lightning, but also, well, kind of global lightning, but it's really the pulsations at frequencies that are so large that their wave size is like a whole Earth or a half a Earth, and so on like that. These are the pulsations, the Schumann resonances. And when the Schumann resonances are elevated, people who are very electromagnetically sensitive will feel physical health effects. But not only people who are sensitive, there's lots of things like there are many. This is a really fringe science area of study, so there are many theories about what charges at different frequency levels do, but also roughly these correspond to the brainwave states of a human brain as well. These are the same frequency operational levels. So the heartbeat of the Earth, meaning the charge of the capacitor that is formed between the Earth's surface and top of the atmosphere via lightning. That's the discharge of that as the brainwaves of a human, the neural synapses firing, making brainwaves. That's roughly the same Hertz regions. So it has been theorized by like community members here and by other French scientists that it is easier to tap into the brainwave state that corresponds to where the higher Schumann resonance power frequencies are coming in. So that's a kind of a tangent that I went on, but I wanted to because I've got some viewers asking questions right now and I love when y'all interact. I also love when y'all take care of yourself. If you are in your safe spots, that would be a good idea. If you're in Kentucky, get to as central of a location as you can. We did have that big initial roll cloud move through, but now you are getting into the big alien blob-like, the big massive rainmaker itself is now present over Elizabethtown. It's not the only place to be watching out, though. Fortunately, it looks like we are completely out of tornado warnings, so we'll just be having to look for these severe thunderstorm warnings and remaining in tornado watches in eastern Kentucky. Now, that's a nice looking center of circulation setting up behind St. Louis. However, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these backside storms are nasty little supercells in the middle of the night. So you might not be completely out of the woods once the line rolls through. This looks like a entrainment could be setting up. Well, not entrainment, but like a vibe entrainment of bad weather. Okay. And yeah, out here having an idea. Wow, thank you. I also learn from you guys. So when you have things to contribute to the chat or what I'm talking about, please feel free to chime in the chat and let me know what you know about these different spheres. I'm very interested in everybody's specialties. Even if your specialty is music or painting or social science, like everybody's got some sort of special interest. I want to know about all of them. So speaking of special interests, I was briefly alluding to this when I talked about the impact of the planetary gravitational orbits on potential solar storm formation, I do think that there is a connection between planetary placement and the conditions in the weather. Let's see, where do I want to go? Oh, nope, not that one. I wanted to go to this. Okay, so we are now looking at our current planetary weather. We've got the moon at 21 degrees of Capricorn and the sun at 6 degrees Gemini. And Venus is racing toward the sun, having recently overtaken Jupiter, who recently overtook Uranus, and who is about to be overtaken by Mercury. All of these planets are racing towards the sun. Well, actually, Jupiter's kind of moving away from the sun because they just had a cazimi. Jupiter-Sun cazimi was co-present with Venus at the last degree of Taurus, but now Jupiter, Venus, and the sun are all in Gemini. Venus and the sun are making a conjunction, applying to a soon upcoming Venus cazimi in Gemini. We do have Neptune still at the anaretic degree of Pisces. That is making a rough sextile to all three of those planets that are in the first 5 degrees-ish of Gemini. I guess it's really only sextiling Jupiter at this point. But both of those planets are trine and sextile, respectively, to Pluto in Aquarius. So all of this march of the planets through the last degree of Taurus and the first degree of Gemini have been trine to Pluto in Aquarius. So that is an easy flowing, constructive, yet maybe a little too relaxed relationship between the power, death, rebirth, new beginnings and endings, and power dynamics planet present in the sign of Aquarius, of the waves, of the technology, of the science, of all of the interacting waveforms that constitute our idea of technology and intercommunication and communication with large groups and legacy, career, passing on knowledge things. Those are making easy aspect to our 2 benefic planets that are very recently sun contacting right at the beginning of Gemini, which is the mutable air sign, which is really chaotic. I would say I would definitely describe the last decan of Taurus into the first decan of Gemini as very much the tornado, severe weather, it's the vibes of a severe thunderstorm, I think, kind of energy. So that is, to me, giving, honestly, power outages. But sleep and dreams and the maybe things seeming too good to be true with all of these benefics playing towards Neptune being a planet of not only the transcendental psychedelic beyond states, but also delusions and illusions. So hopefully we are not being falsely comforted into an illusion when it comes to our relationship between power and technology and society. But that being said, there's another grand sextile being made right now between the moon in Capricorn. We've got Saturn in Pisces and Mercury in Taurus. That feels a lot more constructive to me. We don't have the illusions and delusions going on with the playing with Neptune. We've got maybe grounding in reality, material art forms, maybe finding like your skill as a hermit, someone like, because this is the two earth signs. When there's a grand sextile, there's always two of the same sign and one that is opposite the third of that sign. So this is, instead of a grand earth trine, this is a earth sextile on Pisces, where the Saturn in Pisces is getting accented by a moon in Capricorn that is very happily watched over. Like moon is very happy in Taurus, so knows how to communicate with Taurus, and Saturn rules Capricorn, and the moon and Mercury are making that trine between Capricorn, or actually no, this is not Mercury, it's making an aspect to, this is Uranus, this really hot point of the early 20 degrees of Taurus have been really hot this year with a lot of different issues, mainly the Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Taurus. Maybe we are finally integrating some of that. Maybe we're finally integrating some of what happened this past Taurus season into our, I'm getting solitary artwork or solitary creative or solitary healing work. Yeah, there's something in this about healing and self-healing through things that have recently come to light. But that moon in Capricorn is not a very passive one, as it's getting a square from a very powerful Mars in Aries. Mars rules Aries and is also at 20 degrees. So is in a first harmonic aspect to Uranus, but is making that strong square, strong conjunction to Chiron and square to the moon in, I wanted to say Neptune for some reason, Capricorn. I feel like this is a really take action kind of orientation for a Uranus that's just been contacted by both benefics and the sun, aspecting to the moon in, actually this is the degree of Capricorn that the great Uranus-Neptune conjunction took place in back in 92, 93, 94. They were all co-present around there. I think 94 it switches, but I know in 93 for sure, Neptune and Uranus were conjunct in Capricorn around this degree. So maybe that area of your life or that area of your chart, if you're of that generation that has that placement, this would indicate some structured, really well-constructed fuel of a creative pursuit or something like that, that maybe just came on your radar in this last Taurus season. And Mercury's about to transit that area too, so I have a feeling Mercury will soon find a way to express that. And this is all also making a grand kite formation with Black Moon Lilith in Virgo, if you count it. Black Moon Lilith is the apogee point of the moon's rotation, so we do actually have, we're at a first third moon, really. When we get into moon in Pisces, we will start the shortest synodic cycle of the month, which will be the shortest lunar month of the year. Synodic cycle of the month. Shortest synodic cycle of the year. Shortest lunar month from third quarter phase in Pisces to third quarter phase, or to first quarter phase in, anyway, this will be a really short one because we are opposite the apogee point. That means we are closest. This is the time when the moon is the closest to the earth, when it's across from this. So honestly, the moon passing into the magnetotail of the sun just now at a pretty, this is like a third of the way into it. Our full moon was pretty close to the Earth as it was in the magnetotail. So that is a really interesting setup. Okay. I'm coming back. Your south node is in Capricorn at 21 degrees. Yes. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that, because I also really think that Kazimis especially make a big impact on the pressure dynamics on the surface of the sun, and that the sun is the luminary because it translates. The sun and the moon are the luminaries that dispense the energies from the planets, and the sun, it comes in the form of the solar weather, but the moon comes in the form of the moon's dispensing of planetary energy comes from making conjunction contacts with that planet and being kind of the antenna that picks it up. Your Neptunian being, Pisces sun and rising, Neptune conjunct galactic center on my midheaven. Oh, wow, that's powerful. One big thing I've learned from Neptune is anything we're experiencing is a dream within a dream. Yes, I believe that the spheres are dreams of each other. So waking up within the dream to recognize ourselves is also Neptune to me. Oh, so awakening. Oh man, that is such an interesting contribution to the conversation between Pluto, Neptune, and this early Gemini benefic train. That feels like, if you think of this recent crossing of Pluto from late Capricorn into early Aquarius happening at the same time as having a very late degree Neptune in Pisces as an awakening, and consider the fact that we are going to have a Neptune Saturn conjunction at the first degree of Aries on the spring equinox in 2 years, next year. That is charging that Neptune with some sort of real cosmic awakening kind of vibes. Yeah, the whole of Pisces is a dream, but like when you can take in that the entire zodiac is also a dream, then you restart at 1 Aries. Oh man, and that's the great birth, the great awakening. Yeah, this is really feeling like that is putting a lot of things in perspective for me. I have a moon in Pisces, and Black Moon Lilith conjunct moon in Pisces. So my experience of Pisces is a very emotional and body and tied up to mental health and emotional health experience for me. But I also feel like it's where I get a lot of my intuition from. So, which I think of as like actually paying attention to the suggested game hints that pop up at the bottom of your screen on a video game. Like, intuition is that pop-up that both reminds you, hey, you're playing a video game, and also that means that you can take hints from the meta narrative. Contact with our higher selves helps contribute to that meta narrative. Apposite position and lunar cycle timing and the magnetosphere fucked me up with a glass of my favorite things. Surface tension, my god. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad. Yes, hell yeah. I'm so glad that we are finding each other. I think that this is part of the awakening thing, is like people like Anna and Casey coming to this stream and meeting there and sharing things with me sharing y'all's knowledge of social science and psychology and your own experiences of the astrology. Thank you for sharing with me. Oh, your Cancer moon conjunct the North Node. That is so beautiful. And yeah, if you can love a Pisces moon, I love that for you. That means you are such a gift to this earth, actually, because not a lot of people can love a Pisces moon. Myself and my father are Pisces moons, so it is very. I understand that it's a very challenging placement, but yeah, thanks for saying it's a massive gift too, because I need to hear that. Because sometimes I don't feel like it's a massive gift. Sometimes I feel like my Pisces moon is a massive burden. But yeah, we are looking now at our planetary weather. We've been talking this stream about the different interactions of the planets and how that might have a gravitational pull on the space weather that we see. I see this also showing up as projections of the gravitational rings onto the sun as lines of, like, the sash of sunspots across the sun. I have a personal feeling that these are projections of different gravity slicing into the sun and getting accented and aspected and isolated as prominent in cycles. I believe that that's why the sun cycle is 11 years. I think that there's more coherence to the elliptical orbit planes of the planets around the sun. They go through different patterns of waving near each other when they're in their orbit, when they align in constructive and destructive interference ways. Planetary energy is dispensed to the Earth via the sun, and the sun is the connection from the planets to the Earth. The moon is also a connection of the more esoteric connections to the planets. But the physical connection to the planet comes from the sun, which is an inversion, a sacred inversion of the masculine and feminine roles the sun and moon play, with the sun being the one that's physical and the moon being the one that's more etheric. But yeah, it is really interesting to watch our solar weather, because that is when we get little, I think of it as downloads of information from the sun, or like packets of energetic updates. You can see these minor flares already occurring on region 3691. In fact, I wonder if any new flares have occurred. No, just a C5.57. And they also, these things download to us via the capacitor plate that's formed between the ionosphere and the Earth's surface, and discharges between those two surfaces, as we know, happen in things like the form of lightning. And Schumann resonance is a measure of how frequently lightning is striking around the Earth on different power how much power is moving at what frequency in the global electric circuit at one point in time. And this creates a sonogram that can be thought of as equivalent to a voice, a vocal sonogram. I'm actually Chrome Spectrum Labs, so that you can see. So this is basically listening to the thunder of the entire globe and how frequent it's happening, and what audible. It's a power representation, or it's an audible sound representation of a power distribution. What's the sound of the frequency of things discharging? And so you can see on screen right now, I'm showing the chromeexperience.com spectrogram. I am showing the talking of my voice, and you can see when there's not much going on, there's some dead air, but you can hear a little bit of a background. I'm going to get even closer so that the proximity effect can show some more different types of pops and clicks in my spectrogram so that you can see this is when I'm talking. There are multiple frequencies of my voice happening at the same time, and that's what creates the timbre of the sound of my voice, is having these specific frequencies. And you can see there's when there's more intonation in my nasal, you can see it, like, it goes a little bit more musical, and I get a little bit of vibration up here. You see there's some sing-songy, like I do my little Jerry Seinfeld voice, and you can see more of a sine wave show up in there, and that's what that talking type of signature shows up very rarely on the Schumann resonance sonogram, but it's kind of, this kind of shows you like an example of what the Schumann resonances might sound like. That's what these look like. And the four tones, those would be, those horizontal lines are just tones like do. Oh, like I'd have to show you, like a horizontal line is like one tone, like boo. So that shows you the horizontal lines are four modes of the Schumann resonances. Those are the basic tones making up the voice of the atmosphere. And this is a vocal readout of the voice of the atmosphere. That voice of the atmosphere gets power to discharge to the Earth's surface via the geosphere, or via the magnetosphere. And that is something you can kind of see. This is if you're looking over the North Pole. This is if you're at the equator looking at the North Pole, north and south here, of the Earth. This is where the sun is, and this is behind the Earth, or where a full moon would be. And you can see these little sections of back towards the Earth wind that is happening there. We did get a little bit of a power burst and get some charge down there. You can see it in our pressure. This is in nanopascals now, because we're measuring the density of charged particles as the density of air. And the density of air there is so rare. Air is so rare up here that we measure in nanopascals as opposed to hectopascals, which is what we measure the terrestrial Earth with. But you can see there's increasing pressure here in the tail, in the magneto tail, and that is what's cycling things from the North Pole back into the South Pole. It's there's increased pressure behind the Earth right now, so we can expect a precipitation event with that, an ion precipitation event, which goes along with these Schumann resonances. And then from that, we are brought back to our terrestrial weather, which is where we get a lot of, when we're in the higher levels of the atmosphere, we transition from the ionosphere to the, start to get into the atmosphere. And we go down through layers, and there are upper level disturbances that are driven by both surface conditions and any changes in the ionosphere, such that, the Schumann resonances are measuring basically all the music of all the thunder on the entire planet at once, but also where the amount of power in those lightning bolts being dispensed, and at what frequency. But as we are looking back towards our severe weather, this would be one area that the Schumann resonances are measuring right now. If you hear any thunder or see any lightning around you, you can know that that is part of our okay. And we have a tornado warning, radar indicated tornado warning in Jackson, Tennessee, southeast of Jackson, Tennessee. That's radar indicated. And these are more dangerous at night, so they will warn more frequently at night. Let's go. Can you give me the version where I have my control panel again, please? Thank you. Check in with chat. Oh man, okay, I'm glad that you like that example. I love that example, and I will use it as at any chance I can get. So that's what the Schumann resonances are, and they're that voice that's talking between the sun, moon, and our atmosphere. So our atmosphere, not unaffected by the moon and planets, but not scientifically proven to be connected to the movement of those heavenly bodies yet. But based on my Pisces moon bullshit, I definitely do believe that my intuition is guiding me to assemble all of these waveforms together in a daily observance online so that we can document the coincidences between different spheres' weathers. Okay, so yeah, we have a tornado warning down near Henderson, Tennessee, headed towards Parsons and Decaturville. How do I get my... Okay, I'm gonna close Radar Omega real quick and get it back up so I can get my controls back, because I want to go to single site radar on this. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, we are close to that Memphis area. We can see this in... Well, reflectivity is dropping there, but it looks to me like we've got another situation where we've got line segments coming together. Let's take a... Yeah. That is when we are going to... Remember, that is the shape that a storm takes just before the wave breaks, like this. Okay? So straight lines do occur in nature, but it's right before the wave breaks. So we are about to see a rolling crash of the wind here, and that is our cyclonic activity. That is what we are looking for as possibly providing a thunderstorm or a tornado right now. This little crash zone right here sweeps through from Brownsville to Jackson. You can kind of see it's like one outflow boundary is mixing with the inflow of this next one. Let's see if I got a better angle from No. Anywhere else? I don't think they would have. Well, kind of. Kind of look at this. Not really to speak of, though. Memphis is the best bet, and it's got a not great view. Let's go back to our large radar, though. I always click on the wrong one. How many warnings we got? We got 1 tornado warning, 9 severe thunderstorm warnings, 7 flash flood warnings. Let's go to those flash flood warnings. And I don't know, I feel like it's raining where I am, but radar doesn't show it. I've been hearing some thunder in the distance. As we get this line of storms rolling in through Tennessee, we're really gonna feel the mountain rain effect soon. Elizabethtown, you are soon out of the strike zone, in the clear, kind of behind that dry line. But most of the areas we had flash flooding warnings are now behind that dry line. But just northeast of Bowling Green, Kentucky, and Morganton, Kentucky, which isn't too far. Remember, far western Kentucky is where we had that terrible, terrible tornado tonight that went through a pretty populated area. This is where we're looking at a lot of flooding, so that actually, where I was talking about Little Egypt, the very southwestern tip of Illinois, that is going to be probably flooded. This area, that Cairo where the two rivers converge, that is going to be swelling soon with all this rain that swept through both the Mississippi and Ohio River regions into that delta. And yeah, this south of Jackson looking more and more curvy as the things come in. But yeah, most of Kentucky is getting some pretty severe weather right now. There are already power outages in place from what swept through earlier. You can see power outages better when I zoom out, because I've got really fine lines on them. But like we already have 43% of people out in lots of West Virginia. We're still dealing with power outages on the backside of this in Missouri. In this, I think, is the segment of storm that was sweeping through Pocahontas, Paragould, Kennett, Caruthersville, Blytheville. That Paragould Blytheville storm has now made it over to Jackson and is tornado warned once again. And we are severe thunderstorm warned for winds up to 70 miles per hour with considerable damage, hail up to 0.88 inches. Expect considerable tree damage. Damage is likely to occur to mobile homes, roofs, and outbuildings. Tornado watch remains in effect until 5 a.m. Central Time. So that is a pretty long tornado watch. Also remains in effect for the tornado watch remains in effect until 4 a.m. Central Daylight Time. But yeah, 70 miles per hour winds predicted up here. So even if you aren't getting struck by a actual tornado, you are probably in the line of some damaging winds. I'd say that the winds look like they're going this direction. So you see how kind of go a little bit further here. this is like our gradient. Oh God, that's terrible. Let me do that. This is our little gradient of wind. It's really bowing out right there between Oakland and Boulevard. So when you see the line segment bowing, that area where it's bowing out the fastest is where we get the highest wind speeds. So that's why we've got, the tornado is up here, but or possible tornado is up here, but down here near the Tennessee, Mississippi border region is like east of Memphis is where we're seeing a lot of high winds. And I mean, Memphis isn't out of the clear either, because there are still storms spawning along this frontal boundary all the way back towards places in Texas that got devastated yesterday. We've got another little rogue supercell in northern Louisiana. So special weather statements still applying in North Carolina and in places like Albemarle and Vanceboro, Greenville. So Greenville is when you're starting to get down east, but it's well east of the triangle. This is also starting to bow out and look more like a crashing wave, where earlier you can see kind of a rotation near Goldsboro, though, which is really interesting. Or a rotation shape, a hook on the back, but not like a scary hook. Okay, and if we apply that boundary analysis here, then we can see that the highest winds are probably these coming this way, this direction. So headed right on the Kentucky-Tennessee border, I think this is where our peak winds are. This is the axis of our peak winds here. We do also have it rotating out from the center of circulation. We have some winds going that way, and some you'll see different peak winds, and when the peak winds kind of converge to each other, that's when we're getting this tornado situation. But like it's a little bit of a different shape. Imagine two waves at the, now this isn't on the crashing wave scale, the whitecap wave scale. We're thinking now of the types of waves that are in the like skimboarding zone, that flat sandy beach area where the two waves that are coming at the other, or they get some little micro turbulence. You see multiple little splashes out of wave, like tidal size or tide pool size waves. You'd see them kind of, the one centered over Memphis and the one centered over Nashville, they're kind of converging as they go ashore. That's what there are so many different types of waves that are in this atmosphere. Guys, the waves, I can't shut up about the waves. Waves are everywhere. We've got a new severe thunderstorm warning, I think this one near La Follette, Tennessee, and Williamsburg, Kentucky. Still got a lot of stuff going on throughout, sweeping into eastern Tennessee now, headed towards the weather house, in fact. Let's actually turn on our spotter network. Let's see, which one turns on spotter network? I forgot. This? No, that's mesoscale discussions. Yeah, we've got mesoscale discussions for all of these. Cyclone port shows cyclone port stations. Where do I get to spotters? Somebody tell me. Spotters, there we go. See if there's any spotters out here. Well, let me click on this mesoscale discussion because there's so many things in it. Here we go. Here we go. Latest radar loop shows a continuous line of storms extending west-southwest to east-northeast across northern, middle, and western Tennessee, which is sagging slowly southward. Meanwhile, a broken but more intense band of storms extends from western Tennessee southward to the Arklatex region. I love saying the Arklatex region. This convection is ongoing with a much more unstable environment. Mixed layer Cape 3,000 to 5,000 joules per kilogram across the area, and is a bit less shear parallel than the more west to east Tennessee band of storms. So that east to west band of storms is what is intersecting with this band of storms in this mesoscale discussion. So that intersection zone between these two bands is really why we're looking for tornado right here. But let's see if I can get anywhere. These are all under tornado watch, so it won't let me click on just the mesoscale discussion for some reason. Well, I can't even click on the, oh well. I don't see any spotters on here. Did I turn on spotter network correctly? Okay, yeah, I needed to turn on the frequency. Who's out here? Riley Barker. All right. Wonder if any of those are live. We'll see. I'm going to go to local radar again. No, I always say I'm going to go to a different radar and I click on the one I don't mean to go to. Yeah, I can't see shit. Wait, can this see? No. Collierville. Okay. Yeah, you see this horizontal line? That is kind of the front boundary. That is that horizontal component of this band that goes more this direction through Tennessee. As we're looking close, you can see it on this radar right here. That sweeping line segment. That is some sort of outflow boundary or inflow boundary. That is some sort of motion indicating that this mass that's moving more north to south is interacting with this area that's going from west to east. And you can see the frontal outflow boundary. That is what is here. This little cloud that forms right outside of the big main area, that's what's forming here, and that's what's creating that perpendicular intersection, which is let's see if we can get any sort of velocity on this. Yeah, it's a slight velocity couplet. You can't really tell what's happening on the southeastern side very well. I wonder if, oh no, they don't have any updates. No spotters with updates, I guess. I'm certain that Ryan Hall will have some live spotters in the area. If you want to check that out. Let's go back to our mosaic. Yeah, you can see this all forming into one big thing right now, but I'm going to turn those spotters back off. Thing is, I always forget which icon is spotters. Yeah, you see these two blobs blobbing together. Let's take a look at this in motion again. really staying rainy over where Casey said they're watching from. Looking like a squaring up on the backside of that as well. Little peaks, little attenuation points of energy. Probably. Let's see. Let's check on chat. I haven't checked on chat in a while. Oh, going to sleep now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys. Thank you for being here, Anna. Okay. Until the telescope was invented, science couldn't validate any galaxy besides our own. It just slowed mundane tooling process. Yes. So funny and fitting that a meteorologist with Pisces moon would talk about weather from everyone from everything from a place of care. That's really sweet. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I guess you already went to sleep. Thank you, Jacob, for telling me Ryan's not live right now. That would explain why I still have 4 viewers. Or there are people watching me saying, can you hear about, oh, we got a new tornado warning. New tornado warning. Is that good for that voice that plays? A new tornado warning by the National Weather Service. Tornado warning for southern Henderson County in West Tennessee, northeastern McNairy County in West Tennessee, northern Hardin County in West Tennessee, Chester County, and southern Decatur County in West Tennessee. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Henderson, moving east at 50 miles per hour. So, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. And that also was a new warning sound. Okay, we've got another tornado warning here down in Arkansas from Monticello to Dermot. We are looking at a new, I have just been talking about the right angle wave shape crashing, going into vorticity, going into a mesocyclone pipeline that we're undergoing in Western Tennessee here between Jackson and Savannah, headed from Henderson towards Cliffville. Probably going to let this warning back here expire once this interaction region moves. Some storming forming behind the interaction region of these two lobes of the storm coming in towards each other. I think I might do a watercolor painting illustrating what I mean by that, because it really is like when you've got two waters with something dissolved in them, and you can see it interact very clearly through watercolor. But here in Arkansas, unfortunately, after we had the outbreak of such... Oh, I'll wait for my earthquake 3D sound to go down. Don't see anything too newly noteworthy on earthquake 3D. Though we do have some top of the world earthquakes. Yeah. We've got... So you heard it here first, folks. Ryan Hall is not live. I'm live, and I'm not even asking you for money. I'm sorry. That's not that Ryan does that. Ryan does great work, and I really support the Y'all Squad. They're doing great work. Anyway, we've got this tornado warning in Monticello. Radar indicated tornado. Let's take a look at that on local radar. I'm going to go from Little Rock, unless... Oh, that's not really online, is it? That's offline. That's the one that we have a radar hole, because that's been offline for years or something, right? I think so. Okay, here is our radar indicated tornado, and we are seeing another one of those interaction regions where there's two different directions of wind interacting, causing a little bit of a spin up here. It looks like a bit of a, it's hard to see because the direction of wind is kind of parallel to the axis to the radar station. That looks like a nasty little storm. Like the line from Monticello to Little Rock is kind of the direction that's the direction the radar is seeing in, and so it can't really see too much back here. But wonder if Jackson has, it's a long shot, but they might have a little bit better of a view because they're on the side of it. Yeah, you can see a bit of the couplet and the inflow notch that would be forming here between Monticello and Negahee. Negahee, fun fact, a Scottish tribe that my ancestors were kicked out of. I've been kicked out of so many things for so many generations. They just don't want me here telling the truth. Okay, and by telling the truth, I mean, doesn't that look like a little wave? This looks like a little, oh, that's bad. Like this is, oh God, but learn to freaking draw. Go back to art school. Well, here's the thing. I never went to art school. I went to liberal arts school. Okay, so here's our crashing wave and inflow. I think that is pretty clear. The little golden ratio spiral, Kelvin Helmholtz type wave, laminar flow to turbulent flow, vortice shedding type vibe that is happening here, that is counting as the radar indicated tornado. I definitely see that when you look from the Jackson radar. When you look from the Little Rock radar, it's a little harder to see. But you can see the square of doom. That's moving at 45 miles per hour east-southeast. So we did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning with that. Warned for hail up to quarter-size hail, up to an inch, wind speed 60 miles per hour. We're looking at east central Bradley County, Desha County, Drew County, and southeastern Lincoln County in Arkansas. Severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending near Pea Ridge to Green Hill, moving at 60 miles per hour. And remember, anything that's like 50 miles per hour, even 40 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour and over, 60 miles per hour especially, that means that anything that's being thrown by the wind is moving at you at that speed. So you don't mind getting hit with a stick, but would you want to get hit with a stick at 70 miles per hour? No? Then stay inside. Stay safe where you are, especially in the nighttime hours. These storms get especially dangerous because you can't see debris being flung from a long way away. All right, it looks like we're just speeding up in velocity as this passes through Henderson. So we do have some pretty strong winds that's getting into the, looks like it could peak into, it's like this. Yeah, it's in the 80 mile per hour region. So we're getting a really strong signature there. Don't know if it's showing from, yes, it is showing from another radar now. Little bit of a couplet. I don't know if that is looking like a real tornado or not. It looks like a kink in the line, definitely, but also very hard to tell from these very distant radars. Let's see if this can... Oh, and we got a new severe thunderstorm warning here near Athens, Georgia. Quarter-size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds warned. So we're getting back into the deep south being part of this. Okay, yeah, you can really see that interaction region here. As the interaction region moves from Jackson to Henderson, you can really see the swirling. Actually, I see a bit of a couplet there. I'd say over Finger. Maybe Bethel Springs and Selmer are trying to get in on it. This would be where we're moving that rotation to. This is coming towards this station. So anything green is away from the station, everything. No, red is away, green is towards. So yeah, looking like some hookage up in there. Let's take a look at that on reflectivity too. Yeah. And then you saw the kind of rear flank convection region kind of do a little flare up as it went over Jackson. That rain cooled air after sweeping through from many different storms is probably all interacting at the upper levels in this little zone of the crashing wave, the crest of the wave. This is like underneath the wave, sucking you one direction or the other in the pipeline. Yeah, looking at that with our little storm indications, this is one I'm concerned about. This is one that we've probably been observing. I'm concerned about this new little Bethel Springs rotation area. Let's see. 4 tornado warnings right now. Those 2 in Tennessee and 1 in Kentucky. Oh, we got a tornado warning in Kentucky and that one in Arkansas. I did not see this new tornado warning in Kentucky come in. We're looking near Williamsburg and Jellicoe. No, Jellystone. I don't remember where that is. Okay, that is where we're indicated for a tornado, but let's see our reflectivity. Reflectivity. Take a look at our reflectivity. It's this big, broad squall line. This QLCS marching through. And you can see it get torn up by the mountains as we get into the higher elevations in Kentucky. This, like, Swiss cheese grater just tearing it all up through there. Really crazy stuff going on there. I don't know which site would... Oh, I bet Knoxville. Oh, shit. If we're looking at it on Knoxville's radar, then I'm in the danger zone. Not the danger zone. Not the danger zone. That's really, I mean, it's really right due north of La Follette. I'm pretty sure that Ryan Hall got corrected on this town name so many times, but he said so many corrections that I don't remember which is correct. But I believe that La Follette is La Follette. That's how I would say it if I was from there. Kerrville, La Follette, Maynardville, Jellicoe. Yeah, that is a twisty Cheeto if I ever saw one. If you're new to this channel, I call a particular presentation in a QLCS a twisty Cheeto, because I think of the twisted puffed Cheeto rotating and how you can see that double helical rotation of the storm sometimes. Yeah, I call that my puff. I love. It's been really nice to have you. I'm getting have active tornado warnings. We still have 4 active tornado warnings. I feel like someone should be broadcasting. So we are looking at 4 different tornado warnings active throughout the South tonight. Our first one we're looking at right now is this one on the Kentucky and Tennessee border. This is moving east at about 47 miles per hour. It's a little hard to see on reflectivity. It's coming in clear in the last few images. But yeah, you can see this radar indicated tornado. We're expecting rain or hail up to 0.75 inches. Okay, let's update our reflectivity. Yeah, this last scan really showed it. You could kind of see it as 2 sliding past each other like a slip fault almost, but here we've east northeast of Jellicoe. That's headed for Fond, Yellow Creek, Frakes. It's going to pass over Bear Wallow Mountain and Vanderpool Mountain. That's actually where it is right now, is right over Bear Wallow Mountain. I always find it fun when velocities couple up very well like that at the top of a mountain. But that will be headed towards Middlesboro, Harrogate, Cumberland Gap, and the Cumberland Gap National Historic Park. So if y'all know that area, you might be getting a tornado right now, just south of Pineville in Kentucky. Yeah. So this is southeast of Williamsburg, headed towards Middlesboro, and headed towards that little peekaboo of Virginia that you get touching Kentucky right there. I press and hold the map to get in and out of full screen. Okay, that's what I've been doing wrong. Yeah, that one looks nasty. We've also been looking at these, actually it's better from this station. Sorry, I don't know why my computer's buffering so much. I've got a great graphics card on it, but sometimes asking a lot from Radar Omega and broadcasting at the same time, and running Earthquake 3D, and running Edge as my browser is all shade to Microsoft Edge. I do like the homepage. Okay, so we're seeing these are a convergent zone. Little two air masses doing this number. They're both moving with a big component in the same direction, but slightly not the same angle of interacting here, which could cause some up. Near Memphis. Yeah, we're still really high winds behind this segment. Oh, and we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning in this area for Lexington and Parsons, Tennessee. So let's take a look at that on reflectivity. Oh yeah, that is where the main convection is going from these two systems converging. It is all going in this like quadrant 1. Like if this was our coordinate system, quadrant 1 right here is getting all that convection in the form of really heavy thunderstorming. This might be where the convergent zone and tornado risk is, but this is where that really heavy storming risk is. So that's why they have issued a 70-mile-per-hour damage threat considerable, tornado possible, severe thunderstorm warning for Lexington, Parsons, Decaturville, Darden. Is that the one that's... Yeah, that one is clear on up to Clarksburg and New Johnsonville and Camden, Tennessee. So even though we've got the tornado warnings right down here, we are looking at a really strong storm forming from the convergence of the two frontal boundary systems. This could create a little micro rotation. I'm gonna power up. I'm gonna eat some power nuts. Could I see if Murfreesboro, Tennessee is okay to go to sleep? Yes. Let's take a look at the Nashville. Murfreesboro, you should sleep in a safe spot. I would not like you have to go to sleep inside the laundry room if that's your tornado shelter. But you are, let's see, currently under a tornado watch that expires in 3 hours. You're also really close to 2 mesoscale discussions about some very dangerous storms. Right now, the first wave of it has passed over Murfreesboro, but we are looking at behind that in like Nashville, Dixon, Bellevue. That area is getting the rain that you're going to get as a second wave, Murfreesboro. The little interaction region that is causing tornadoes back there near Lexington is headed to the south of Murfreesboro area. Now, I don't think that line of interaction with the band, Murfreesboro, you're currently getting rain and thunderstorms from that band that's swooping down from the north, and the interaction over near Henderson is swooping in from the west. And I don't think that western tongue of it is going to get to Murfreesboro by the time the northern tongue is still there. I think this is probably since, like, I'll show the westerly wind in pink is coming in that direction. The northerly wind in red is coming in, I'd say, more like that direction. And this is not to scale of where they'll interact, but the interaction region of those is probably going to be moving this way, because that's the little bit, you see here, this is vector analysis. this is roughly scaling down the angle that those two are making to each other. That's the angle you can expect it to travel. Really, really roughly, I'd expect this really dangerous interaction region to be Murfreesboro. You're probably not at risk of active tornado at the moment, but that doesn't mean you should go to sleep like normal. I think that you should take some pillows and sleeping bags to a place that is away from windows. If your, for instance, bed is right next to a window like mine is. Or you're not in a basement. Sleep in the basement if you have a basement. Something like that would probably be smart. Just in case you have any downed trees or power lines, because this storm coming behind you it's got a considerable severe thunderstorm warning on it. This interaction region is possible further down the line a few hours from now. So if you need to get some sleep, but have your weather radio on. Maybe even put a weather broadcast on in the background. I find that helps me sleep sometimes. Yeah, you can have your weather playing in the background on TV, and that can be some nice white noise to sleep to. So keep something like that on, or a weather radio on if you'd like to go to sleep in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Oh, just so I don't look crazy to people on Twitch. Somebody did ask me that. Okay. I got some nuts, some spiced nuts. I don't know how they make them, but it's not like it's not like a salt on the nut. It's like roasted into the nut is this like spicy, peppery blend that's really good. Okay. Thanks to all of y'all watching out there. I think I have one viewer right now, so that's fun. I think I will end up going to sleep soon, even though the rain is yet to come for my region. I'm probably a few hours out. Let's take a look back up here in Kentucky. Okay, we got that confirmed tornado over here. Or suspected tornado, I mean. Radar indicated tornado. I always get snacky at night. I'm using too much brain power. Energetic reading. It's out with an energetic reading. Okay. So for those of you who don't know the stream, if you're wandering in from just seeing that I'm a live weather stream, I do comprehensive weather analysis, and that includes all vibes, all spheres. So the vibes and the spheres go from volcanoes to earthquakes to terrestrial atmospheric weather to the ionosphere to the magnetosphere to the interplanetary magnetic field to the sun, all the way out to storms on the sun being affected by the gravitational influence of the orbiting planets, And beyond that, beyond the orbiting planets, we have to rely on sensing techniques that are a little bit less scientific and more esoteric, because we are at the bounds of our technology. So we actually use card pull to get a feel for what's the general vibe of the weather on the cosmic scale, what's coming into our solar system and the realm of that which we can see with telescopes and that which we can know with the scientific method. This is a type of inquiry that is only for believers in the horizons of thought and not people who are closed-minded to potential scientific uses of traditionally spiritual practices. So that's what we do here, blending spirit and science, because science is spirit. Our spirits go through the scientific process in their journey, in their evolution. Spirits go through the scientific process. Okay, but let me make sure my radar is still going in the background. Actually, I'm going to put it on big radar. So we've got, it looks like we've got more stuff to talk about down in southeastern Arkansas. We've got a brand new severe thunderstorm warning and an additional tornado warning in that area. Tornado warning, 1 in Tennessee, 1 in Kentucky, and 2 in Arkansas now. So I'll leave that up in the background while we have our vibe reading. I'm going to start with the words of affirmation deck. Sometimes I think of it like that. Oh, that's too many, but I think I'm taking this first one. Okay, and this is also the law of attraction deck. The law of attraction, the most powerful universal law, is my friend. And I like to think of the law of attraction as the meteorological principle of thunderstorm entrainment, where when thunderstorms train along a line, it primes the conditions on the ground to support a thunderstorm occurring there. If you don't believe in the law of attraction, but you believe in meteorology, then just think of the law of attraction as entrainment, but for everything else in the world. It says, you create with your every thought. By the universal law of attraction, that which is like unto itself is drawn. You are attracting the essence of whatever you are giving your attention to, wanted or unwanted. A very important thing to note for my scientists out there who say, that which is like unto itself is drawn. No, that's wrong. Actually look more into the physics of weather, because the physics of water, I should say, because that is how there are a lot of things that work. Usually find a finer level of perception to that system that includes something that is opposites attracting. So even within the way that the law of attraction works in the universe, there are finer systems of figuring out what opposites you're bringing in order to attract the thing that you're calling in. by doing the thing you are trying to attract, how is that creating a negative space of that thing that then gets filled in by more by the universe? Like spending money if you want to call in money, like emptying your bank account so that you notice a big new paycheck. I don't know. All right, and I have that one with my little piece of selenite. That is the fiber optic cable of the universe. Let's now get a card from the liminal space deck. Oh, I thought I had dirt on my sofa the other day. It was drippings from my power nuts. It was my power nuts. Okay. All right. Oh, if you're just tuning in, I got a weird noise that's piercing. Oh no. Hold on, I'm going to try my audio cable. All right. How about now? How about now? Is there still a weird piercing noise? I appreciate that feedback a lot. Got a weird noise that's piercing. Maybe it's my vibe. Might be my microphone. I have a Bigfoot, but I do have a different type of microphone I could plug in. I have a condenser mic that goes to an XLR. This one, maybe. Oh, I wonder if will it stop if I take my headphones out? Maybe if I take my headphones out, it won't be creating a localized loop. I think that can happen sometimes. Okay, so currently we have, looks like 4 active regions of tornadoes. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, maybe it's better without my headphones in then. But sometimes I forget to check my audio levels if I don't have my headphones plugged in. Okay. Let's see. We currently have, okay, so they have let the tornado warnings expire near Henderson, Tennessee, but they are still warning for considerable damage and winds up to 70 miles per hour in the area of Savannah, Clifton, and Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. Then here in Hazel Green, just near Athens, Georgia, we've got a new tornado warning, radar indicated, and warned for hail up to 0.75 inches. Then down here in our, what was an isolated cell near Monticello, Arkansas, we've got this Boeing line segment capable of producing a tornado. Let's take a look at the single site. I'm going to continue our vibe reading in a second. Let's look at single site radar from Little Rock. Okay. I think I'm seeing what they're seeing. This little couplet right here. Let's see if the Jackson radar sees it better. Kind of see it better on the Jackson radar. So that's what's going on down here in Arkansas. Looks like maybe a little convergence zone. This is new tornado warning until 2:30 a.m. So take cover now. Move to a basement or interior room in Dermot, Baxter, Jerome, and Collins, Arkansas. Move to the closest substantial shelter to avoid debris. Now, as we take a look at our storm that was near Jellicoe, that warning was allowed to expire, and they issued a new one. But that expires in 1 minute. Let's see if this is showing up as a couplet anymore. That was it. That was what was spinning near Williamsburg here. Looks like it might be cycling itself down as we approach Middlesboro. This is the last little notch of interaction between the two different velocities of storm. We've got one Huntsville, Alabama. Did I say Athens, Georgia earlier? I meant we're near Huntsville, Alabama, Hazel Green, Alabama. Let's see which storms we're looking at on these. Oh, this little spinny guy. Oh, this little guy right here. That's hooking itself in near Newmarket, Alabama. Take a look at that on reflectivity. Ooh, that looks very rain-wrapped as well. And you can see it. You can see the this little S right here. That is where we've got our center of circulation right there over Newmarket. So look for that as we're watching it pass over. You can see the circulation manifest itself there. That's going to be very rain wrapped. It's late at night. Hopefully this stays in a unpopulated area. I don't know how populated Newmarket is. But storms in this area are moving 40 to 60 miles per hour. This one, I'd estimate it's in the middle, probably 40 miles per hour. Moving very fast and really strong reflectivity signatures on those. So we are looking at some danger. Oh yeah, Kenosha County, Wisconsin had sirens. Okay, that is because on the top of this rotation here, as we go up, the top end of this, we've had there was a special maritime statement up here earlier over the water, but yeah, we're not too bad lately. Most of it's moved off to the UP and over the lake. But like even back here near Fargo, they're having a little spin up. And that's from the troughing, the deep troughing that's coming in from Canada. You can see that trough line right there. And the same circulation that is kind of spanning out. Like if you see there's this larger circulation that looks like it's going all the way around here. Like really the band that is currently in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina is the same band of outflow from this center of circulation near Oshkosh. That circulation again. Oh, I get to say that finally. Center of circulation is near Sheboygan. all of these, this is same band of flow from the center of circulation, and then this is another band of flow from that center of circulation. But then we get different components of wind from different levels of the atmosphere as we go down this frontal boundary here, towards more of a cold front behind. You start to get some inflow from the Gulf of Mexico, or as I like to call it, the Gulf of Moisture. So that's what's all happening right here. We're having, I think the worst looking place is Huntsville, Alabama, and Greenville. I can't tell if Greenville is on that. I guess Greenville is on the Arkansas side. Or no, it's on the Mississippi side. Monticello, McGahee, Dermott, Lake Village. And we got a new special weather statement right in that area. There's new spin-ups behind it. Gusts up to 40 miles per hour, sustained winds up to 30 miles per hour. That's not good. Northern Mississippi, southeastern Arkansas, and pretty much all of Tennessee, you're getting some strong thunderstorms right now. Even a flash flood warning indicated up at Union City, but that's gone away now. And they've allowed the warning up here near Harrogate to expire. So we've only got the 3 in the 2 places, thankfully. So I'm going to leave radar on in the background, but maybe if I discharge somehow, discharge the electrons from, like, I need to decharge my microphone. I feel like sometimes it might build up dead charge in there that needs to get discharged somewhere. I don't know why my upload progress is only at 7%. That's crazy. Shouldn't do that. If I close other shit. Okay. Well, if my upload progress is so slow, I should get